I'm Delano Little with the Delano Little Show. Back in 1995, I was actually the host of the Dom Capers Show, the first coach of the Carolina Panthers. Well, fast forward 28 years, and he is back with the Cats. And I'm talking to him next on the Delano Little Show.
Bay Aqua Sports presents the Delano Little Show.
Welcome to the Delano Little Show. I am here with Dom Capers, and I used to be the host of the Dom Capers Show. We started that, Coach, and thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me. This brings back a lot of memories.
Yeah, we started that show 28 years ago. Isn't that amazing? That's 28 years. And when I first met you, I felt like, I don't know that Coach Capers is one of those guys that likes to be on TV. Were you fond of being on TV, or have you grown into it, or what?
Well, it was part of the job,
yeah.
And obviously the more you do it, the more you enjoy it, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you here back in Charlotte, senior defensive assistant. What exactly is that for people that might not know?
Well, I say when you reach a certain age, they put senior in front of your name. But, I had the good fortune of having Jero Evero, with me in Green Bay when he was a quality control coach. And he did such an outstanding job and was really bright and a hard worker. And so when he took the Denver defensive coordinator's job, he called and asked if I'd be interested in coming out and working with him. And of course, we did last year and enjoyed it. And when he was fortunate enough to get the coordinator job here under Frank, it was... I look forward to being able to come back. This is like coming back home for me.
Yeah, well, those years were fantastic. 4 years here with the Carolina Panthers, starting in 1995, and we did the Dom Capers Show. We were tied at the hip somewhere every time we look around, and we had a really good time. We had a lot of great fans too that came out there, and you always acknowledge that. And you were the first one for me. You kind of set the stage for all the other coaches that came along that I did with John Fox and Ron Rivera, Coach Rivera. They always had a lot to live up to, because you were fantastic at how you treated everybody. And then you doggone go in 1996 and you make the NFC Championship, which at the time that was unheard of for an expansion team to do that. I mean, do you recall those memories?
Well, the thing that I remember is, of course, we played the first year down in Clemson. The stadium wasn't done yet, but we opened up a brand new state-of-the-art stadium, was called Erickson Stadium back at that time, and we were blessed to have a great group of guys, and we won every home game that year. We were 8-0 in the regular season, and then played the Dallas Cowboys here in the playoffs, and they were defending Super Bowl champs, and we were able to beat them, and it was a magical night. I remember coming in the locker room after the game. Of course, they had Aikman and Deion Sanders and Michael Irvin and standing in there, and there wasn't any players coming in, and I couldn't figure out where they were. And so I walked back out, and all of our players were running around the bowl of the stadium high-fiving the fans, and not a fan had left, So it was really a unique experience.
Yeah, now to do that was amazing, and you move on after that to do other things. Was that more special to you, that NFC Championship run, than winning the Super Bowl? That would be hard to say, right?
It was very special. I mean, it was one of the highlights, obviously, of my career, because I think nobody expected us, to be able to win 13 games that year. And like I say, opening up a brand new stadium, our fans never left feeling bad, So obviously, winning the Super Bowl at Green Bay was one of the great highlights, but that NFC Championship team was a special team because we had so many good guys. We started the first year 0-5, like a typical expansion team.
Right.
But after that fifth game, where Sam Mills intercepted a pass, against the Jets for the first win. But we ended up winning 20 of the next 27 games.
I mean, think about that. Yes, that was fantastic. And you mentioned Sam Mills. That was that signature play for that first season, the opening season. And you got to know him and knew him. What say you on Sam Mills?
Well, I was blessed to be with Sam for 12 years, 2 in the USFL, 6 in New Orleans, and then when he came here. And as we were building the team, the first thing that came to my mind that you couldn't find a better man to have to be the face of the franchise for a brand new football team. anybody that was around Sam knew that as good a football player as he was, that he was even a better person and a great leader. Had a tremendous story because he he'd been cut 2 or 3 times, taught school
because of his
for
size,
a year,
probably, right?
Taught
Yeah.
school for a year, and then he ended up going on to make 5 Pro Bowls and ended up now in the Hall of Fame, which is well deserved.
Yeah, major overachiever, if you would call him that, but he just had he had a lot of talent, a lot of heart.
He represented all the things that you look for, okay, in a player, a person, a leader, and a great football player, but just a great person.
And it holds true that you see a different owner now than when you were here, and you come, but the still keep pounding mantra is still alive and well.
It brings a smile to my face every day that we walk over to the practice field. And I remember the first day we walked onto that practice field, and I see all the keep pounding signs around the practice field. Then I look up at the trees on Cedar Street, and they were about half that size, okay, back at that time. So
28 years to do a lot, right? 26, I guess, when time you left. Coach, for those people that may want to know, like young kids, because when you really think about it, becoming a head coach in the NFL is about as most difficult thing to do. People, I guess kids grow up saying they want to be a football player and want to play in the NFL, but you don't hear many people say, I want to be a coach in the NFL. To get there is harder than the players. You got so many players on the team, you only have one head coach. How, if kids were interested, women, men, whatever the case may be, young boys, young girls, what would you give them? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, I think first of all is find a positive mentor in whatever area you're going into. I know when I was young, I was blessed to have a lot of good mentors, and I can remember one of those mentors telling me, "You find who you feel is the best in the business, and you study them because you can learn a lot of those qualities that they have that has made them ascend to the top of their business."
Right. Well, and you look at your resume, before you even got here to the Carolina Panthers in 1995, you had gone through about 10 teams already, different things. There's a lot of things you have to learn from and pull from. I've just interviewed Maurice Flowers, the head coach at Johnson C. Smith, who is a local product. You can check that out, by the way. We appreciate you watching that one. He went through so many different teams. It was, oh my gosh, you went through all that to get where you are now. Was that ever to a point where you said enough is enough? And how did you continue to go?
Not really. I think if you enjoy what you're doing and it's your passion, that you understand that the nature of this business is movement. I mean, since I've left Carolina, I've been with a number of different teams. But if you enjoy coming to work every day and look forward to it, to me, that's the key to life, all right? Is finding something you have a passion for, because you never feel like you're working no matter how many hours you put in.
You come back not only to the place where you first started, the first ever coach here at the Carolina Panthers, you also are working alongside the first ever quarterback, Frank Reich, who is now the head coach. I mean, it's just so many memories that have come back together. You never know. That's why people always say, don't burn any bridges anywhere. You know what I mean, in the NFL?
Well, especially in this business. And like I say, a guy told me a long time ago, if you stay in a business long enough, everything goes full circle. So it's special for me to have a chance to come back and work for Frank. Frank being the first quarterback in the franchise history. Our very first game, was in Atlanta, and Frank threw a touchdown pass with 26 seconds left. We decided to go for 2 to try to win the game. And
that was gutsy, by the way, too, Coach.
And our right tackle jumped offside, so we had to kick and win to overtime, lost in overtime. But, just knowing the kind of player that Frank was, the kind of leader he was on our first team, and to work for him now and watch him with this team right now, I mean, Frank's as fine a person as there is, and really a tremendous leader, and it makes me feel good, every day that I watch him in the team meeting, the way he handles the players and the way he handles the team.
And you go into this season playing at Atlanta to start the season. It's really amazing. Yeah, what all the similarities, all the things that have come in. It seems like the stars have aligned. Maybe a great season. How do you get to a point? You come in with your defensive knowledge, and by the way, how did you become a defensive guru in the first place? How did that all happen?
Well, I don't know that I'm a guru, all right,
You're
but
pretty
but I think that again, you surround yourself with as many good people as you can. You try to learn something from them every day, and I still, after this is my 37th year in the NFL, and I still learn something every day, which is always exciting. But yeah, I think you try to absorb things, that's kind of my role now with Ajero. Okay, is when we get into game plan meetings and that type of thing, I'll bring up things from the past that have worked and some things that haven't worked so well. So hopefully I can shed some light on some things that are important to us.
Yeah, and we always know, people always say that our offense is fantastic, but defense wins championships. And for the first time, you have a head coach with Carolina Panthers who is an offensive kind of minded person in Frank Reich as a quarterback. Does that matter? People always talk about that. Well, that's a defensive-minded coach, or that's an offensive. Does that matter overall with the team?
I think things go in cycles, okay, over the years, okay, over the last almost 4 decades. You see that, you go a few years and you see more defensive head coaches, and then offensive head coaches come along, and so I think the most important thing is that you're totally competent, okay, in your area, what you do, because we spend so much time together. The players are in so many meetings and things with us, and I think that the consistency with which you do things is extremely important. Yes. Because that's where your credibility lies, is how consistent you are, and there's not many secrets in this business. Yes. So it's a lot of hard work, okay, and a lot of organization and details, and I think Frank is great at all those things.
Somebody in the organization we interviewed recently on the Delano Little Show, Riley Fields, and we were talking to him after, and I hope I'm not giving too much. Riley was saying that this locker room seems different than it's been, and we can check that show out as well. Riley Fields has talked about this seems to be a different locker room than he's seen over the last couple of years, that people seem like they're hungry and they want to win.
Well, I can't speak, okay, but from before, but I can say this, that what I've seen, I like the guys on our team. I think they've bought into the things that we're talking about. I think that they're hard workers. I think they enjoy working with each other. I like their attitude in the meeting room and on the practice field, and that's what you'd like to have, okay, because you got to have that group that's close-knit, and they're going to fight for each other, and this will be fun to see how they respond once we get playing these regular season games.
Right. Well, Coach, now that you're back, and I know your lovely wife Karen as well. She was back there on the day, and she'd always come in for the Dom Capers show. How's she doing? How's the family doing? And what do you do to relax? I mean, I know you always got defense on the mind, but you have to relax, right?
Well, Karen's doing great. She's excited about being back at Carolina. She loved living here. As you remember, she would come to the TV show every Monday night. She was still flying then. She was a flight attendant. Mm-hmm. So she would fly Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, come back in on Friday, and I would stay here at the stadium Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at that time. So no, she feels great about being back, and we found a place very close to the stadium here where if I want to walk, I can walk to the stadium.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, one thing I wanted, because I read about it the other day and was listening to it, and the quarterback for the LA Rams, they used to play with Georgia, said that basically, and I wanted to see what you thought about this. Do you see that sometimes in different locker rooms? He was basically saying that because he's a 14-year veteran, that he's lost touch, and now when they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, it was a different feel on the team, because all the players they got along, they play cards, they do this kind of thing in the locker room. He says with the younger players, you're seeing that they don't engage as much. They're more on their phones. They're not, so there's no chemistry. You said this team has chemistry. Have you seen that in the past over different teams where you have an age gap between? I never even thought about that.
I think obviously over almost 4 decades, I've seen big changes in a lot of things. I mean, the young guys coming up now have certainly grown up a lot differently, with, playing games, the audio-visual things. When you're in meetings, you have to stimulate them more, okay, with something audio and visual and that, okay, because if not, you'll lose their focus. So I think it's like any business over a period of time, you have to adapt, adjust, and change. If not, you fall by the wayside. So there's been a lot of adjustments for me, okay, over the last few years, and I think you're to do the best job you can at your role. That's so important that you evaluate, okay, what it takes, all right, to bring a group of guys together.
Coach Capers, thank you for your time spending. I know you're busy. I know you're getting ready for the season. We appreciate you coming in, and we don't want you to ever leave again. We want you to stay here as much as possible. Okay?
Well, Delano, I sure appreciate it. This brings back so many good memories, and it seems like yesterday we were doing this.
Yes, yes. Coach, thank you so much. I appreciate you. That's all the time we have for the Delano Little Show. We hope to see you next time.